Hello and welcome to CNY Haunts. I'm Bob Driscoll. Today we're joined by Raquel Smith, Monica Kinner from CNY Central New York Ghost Hunters. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having us. I appreciate it.
We're going to talk about some of the events you do here. Obviously, it's spooky season, so there's a lot going on. You got a lot of events going on. But first, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourselves, Raquel?
I am the current president of Central New York Ghost Hunters. I've been in the group now for maybe 7 years, I think. Never had a history of hauntings when I was younger. I just started watching the ghost shows and happened to know who the president was of the group at the time. I joined, and that's how I got involved with this.
All right, Monica, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Monica, and I am the current vice president of Central New York Ghost Hunters. I got involved with the group about 11 years ago. My history as a child, I didn't have anything similar to Raquel. I didn't have anything going on when I was a little kid. They say little kids can see a lot of things. My interest started on a whim. Went to St. Augustine Lighthouse with my mom, did a little ghost tour, caught some stuff on a camera, and I got hooked. Came back from that trip and looked up online and saw that they were accepting new members, and here I am.
So now the tough question first. What does a ghost hunter do? Like, how would you describe what you do?
Sure, we sit in dark rooms and talk to ourselves. It's actually it can be very, very boring. You go to these locations and you could go there 5-6 times and not get anything, and then bam, something will show up on a camera or come up on a recorder, and it's all just kind of where you being in the right place at the right time type of thing. But
Sit in the dark, stare at nothing, listen to each other breathe or their stomachs gurgle. It's pretty boring most of the time. Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You'll get that one thing that will get the adrenaline going every now and again.
I can only imagine once something happens, then suddenly everything changes, right?
Yes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how long have you been doing these hunts? Like, do you remember your first hunt? Did anything spooky happen on the first hunt?
Well, for me, yes. So we went to an abandoned cemetery that I used to live across from. That's kind of how we started in the group. I mentioned it to the president at the time, and she's like, "Okay, let's go." And so we were there, and I started to get a little angry. Monica was pointing things out, and I'm like, "No, that's not any of this stuff." And we determined that I might have been just like picking up on the annoyance of the spirits because we were invading their space, and that was pretty interesting. And I'm like, okay, I need to follow up with this a little bit more and go to other things.
Do you find that the spirits interact differently with certain people?
For sure.
Yes, we did do an investigation with a group at Fort Ontario. It was a college group, and we were getting some flashlight hits with one person, and then somebody else would ask a question and nothing would happen. The minute that person started talking again, the flashlight would start interacting again. So sometimes it's just who's in the room at the time. That's who they want to talk to, and that's it. So
you go to these ghost hunts, you have to bring stuff with you to try to help detect the spirits, right? And I know you kind of brought some stuff with us today,
Yes.
or with you today. Can you kind of describe some of the things that you use to try and help?
Well, we
detect
have
them?
everything from scientific equipment to not so scientific equipment. So something like this, we have, it's a trigger object. It's got a REM pod in it, and I can show you just a generic REM pod too, but you turn her on, and if you interrupt the field around her, it will beep. So you leave this object or a similar object just sitting in a place, in a location, and all of a sudden you'll hear it go off, and that typically will mean that something has interrupted the field, and you may have captured something on video or on a recorder. Those are some of the more scientific. This is kind of the device that's within the dog, and this same concept. If you turn it on, it'll go off. Everything to non-scientific, we have an Etch-a-Sketch. We'll leave objects like this, magnadoodles, to see if anything will interact with it, move a magnet, it can be as scientific or unscientific as you want.
We have cat balls, like they're cat toys that we will put out that light up if something touches it. I mean, so just,
And this has happened. You've seen
oh
this,
yes,
really.
yes, yeah.
What
and
goes
it's-
through you when you see this happen? Like, I can only imagine that suddenly the Etch-a-Sketch, something starts
Usually
writing.
it's everybody's excited for the most part, and then I'm the big skeptical. I'm like, it's probably a fly went by it or something. But
I've never had anything on the Etch-a-Sketch yet.
yep.
I have had this object, which is an ovulus. It has a dictionary in it, and words will come up on it. I like this because a lot of people have something similar on their phone, but as we all know, our phones are always listening, and this is not connected to the internet or anything. It has an SD card, but it has said my name. 2 weeks ago at another investigation, it said another investigator's name that was in the investigation at the time, so I do like that object as well. It's pretty cool when
It's
a
exciting.
spirit will say your name. The dog's name is Roxy, and she has gone off in places that are known to have kids, older people, or if the family had a dog, we typically will bring that along to try to get interaction.
No, you just held up. Is that considered an EVP? Is that something you use to detect that,
No.
or is that something different?
This is something different. You turn it on, and it has just words in it, and it's our belief that spirit can go in and pull out a word, and it will come up on the screen. So EVP is captured with a digital recorder, which is the ghost hunter's #1 tool.
Yes, number one.
So I'll let Raquel talk about EVPs a little.
Yeah, I saw on your Facebook some of the experiences you've had with that, and to me that probably would be the scariest thing.
It's the scariest thing, and to me, it's the most accurate, because when you're sitting in a room and nobody is speaking or saying anything, and then you play it back later and you hear words come across that, it's just very exciting and shocking, because it's like, I know I was there. I know nobody said anything. I know nobody said the word terrible. So that to me is the most reliable, is the digital recorders and the EVPs.
Now, with the EVPs, do you hear it live, or is it one of those things after the hunt's done you go back and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't catch that? But
It's possible that it can be both. We have heard like a rumbling sound audibly, or some people can actually hear the word, and then when you go back and play it, you tag when you're recording, so you hear the rumble and be like, okay, I think I heard something. And then when you play it back, you listen for it, and you can either hear it or can't hear it. Sometimes a lot of people can't hear it. We all hear on different frequencies. So it depends. Depends on the situation.
Yeah, we play in our presentations. We do play different levels because, like Raquel just said, we all hear differently. So I might not hear this thing that Raquel has pulled up, and I will still put it in the presentation. I'll be like, okay, guys, see if you can hear it. And I will see the group start nodding that they heard it. And I'm like, great, I can't hear it. So we try to include all these different things. But like she said, we do tag to say possible response, so that we know to go back and check our recorders for what could be there.
Yeah, and there could be two recorders very close to each other, and one may pick something up and the other one may not.
No.
It happens a lot.
Central New York has a lot of haunted tales. How do you decide where to go? Like, how do you pick what locations you look into?
Well, we're very philanthropic. We like to go to places where we can hopefully do fundraising events for them so they can make money. So we just kind of listen around. to
We've been
see-
invited a few places,
Yeah.
which we're more than happy to do. We don't so much do personal homes. The group used to do that, home cleansing and stuff, but we've become more of a social group. We kind of do this for fun, and like Raquel said, we recently have been diving into finding these historic locations, reaching out to county people for these old buildings, whether it be a courthouse or a jail, and then hopefully creating relationships with these people to be able to help fundraise for them going forward. So it's like we'll get to go in and investigate a few times for free, and then so we get to do our hobby while also helping different communities raise money for these historic locations.
What's the most convincing, I think is the right word, paranormal experience you've had in any of these hunts? Like, what stands out to you as, wow, that one was really intense?
Well, I had something happen at an event at Fort Ontario, and it was interesting because we didn't know it was happening at the time. So I was giving the presentation. I got really upset because we were in the men's barracks, and all I could hear were people walking, and I got very upset because these EVPs are really hard to hear, and these people paid good money to come and listen, and then someone came down the stairs behind, and I yelled, "You can't come through here, we're giving a presentation, you have to go back around," and the door flung open, and there was nobody there.
Oh.
And I was like, well, you people just got your money's worth. So we didn't realize what was happening, and I had said to our fort contact at the end of the night, I said, you need to tell them tomorrow night they can't be walking around up there. And she said, Monica, nobody's been up there all night long. So the people at the event were actually experiencing something paranormal and didn't even realize it.
That would get me. That would certainly get me.
Yeah. We had at Herkimer Home, my first public event we did, we were sitting around in the dark with the group doing EVPs, and we hear heavy breathing, and it was getting frustrating for me. And then finally one of the guests is like, is there somebody breathing heavy? And everybody's like, no, no, no. And one of the other guests said, well, it sounds like a dog. And so I had asked if there was a dog there, could you please make it speak? And when we did our playback, you hear a dog bark. And so everybody, all the guests there, they were really pleased, and it was shocking to me because you can hear the dog bark on it. It was amazing. Yeah, so.
And you recently went back to Herkimer Home too, right?
We did, yep. We just did the public event a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
It was very successful. Very successful. I think everybody enjoyed themselves.
Yeah,
So,
I believe it sold out too. So
yeah.
good
Did
for them.
anything
Yeah.
spooky happen at the Herkimer Home?
I mean, there was people saw some things in the mansion on the stairway and got a couple pictures of what they think might be something paranormal.
Yeah, some
and it
people
was
have been
different people.
sending some evidence that they feel they may have captured in. So
Yeah.
of course we are looking through it and trying to debunk it because that's our,
That's what we do.
not to be a pessimist, but that's the main thing that we try to do is try to debunk everything. So
No, at the time we're doing this interview, you have an event coming up at the Greystone, correct?
Yes, so it's in Martinsburg, New York. It was the General Walter Martin Mansion, locally known up there as Greystone. It's been used as many different things. It was a nursing home. It was a convalescent home for World War I soldiers, personal residences, a library, restaurant. So it's got a lot of history to it. The first two groups have sold out. The third group is still accepting tickets for purchase. And that one's, I think that'll be a good one. No,
Yeah.
it has not been investigated in over 10 years that I'm aware of. By a public
by the
group,
public.
by the
We've been
public.
in there quite a few times trying to gather evidence for them. We did do a presentation for the Lewis County Historical Society, which was very successful for them. And then they have now, they've gotten it cleaned up enough to where we're comfortable allowing the public to come in and investigate. So it should be pretty exciting.
Just looking at pictures of it, it looks like a place that would be a little creepy, right?
Yeah, and that was a location that I would drive by, my husband and I would drive by, and I'm like, I need to see who owns this building, and I was able to determine that it was the Historical Society, so I started ring, calling them up, and
Yeah. So
trying
when
to
you
get
ask
info.
how we come across these locations, it could just be driving by something and be like, that place looks interesting, and let me see if we can get in there. So.
I could probably name a few I've driven by, and I've had questions myself
Yeah.
over the years.
Yeah.
You mentioned Fort Ontario earlier. You have an event coming up there too, right?
Yes, our group has been investigating Fort Ontario, I feel like since the group began, but probably a little after, and we've raised probably over $100,000 for the fort in our
Over the years.
time with them. And so we have that event coming up the 17th and 18th. There are tickets still available to that, and you just contact Fort Ontario to purchase those tickets.
And Fort Ontario is considered by a lot of people as one of the most haunted places around here, right?
Yes.
You
They-
agree with that?
Yes.
For sure.
We actually have one EVP that we'd like to, we'll see if it makes the presentation this year, but it's us setting up, and you can hear the investigator say, well, I'm going to put this over here, and then you hear somebody who's not the investigator say, oh, come on, not today. So, like, they even know why we're there to talk to them, and they get a little annoyed with us,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I'd have trouble sleeping at night. People want to go on these events you got coming up or any future ones. How's the best way to do it? Is there your website?
If they go to our Facebook page, all the information and flyers are there for all of the events that we are helping with.
Yeah, and both, so we have no control over the fundraising part. Each location is completely in charge of that, so even just contacting the Lewis County Historical Society for the Martinsburg event, and then contacting Fort Ontario directly for tickets to the Fort Ontario event.
What is, and not necessarily even for a ghost hunt, what would you consider the scariest place both of you have ever been to, most mysterious place?
Mine's the mansion, Greystone Mansion
Is it
in
really?
Martinsburg, yes. Yeah, for me, for sure.
I did an investigation in Salem, Massachusetts, the witch trials and everything, but we were actually in the firehouse, and we were in the basement, and it had ties to the Underground Railroad, and I think that was the place that I wanted to. I don't typically want to run out of a place. I will sit there and take it, and that I wanted to run out of that place.
Salem's scary. My brother took me to Salem once, so I've been through there, and we went to some of the cemeteries and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's definitely got a different vibe. So I can feel that. About 2 years ago, I went to Stonehenge over in England. I tell you, the feeling there was creepy as well. I mean, nothing happened, but it's just that eerie silence.
Yes.
You're in the middle of a field, you know, something happened there, although we don't know what. But I'd have to say that definitely was the most mysterious I've been to.
Yes.
Places you want to go you haven't gone to, like is there like a place anywhere in the U.S. like you're like, oh, this is where I want to go, or anywhere?
Well, our group recently did, some of us went to the West Virginia State Penitentiary, and there is the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum that we are discussing as a group going to that. And I personally love the jails and love these asylums. So
Yeah, we have one of our reporters I was talking to about this CNY Haunts series, and that's someplace she suggested we go is find one to go to.
well, there's Rolling Hills that is in New York. Most of the group has been there and done that one. I would say probably that's the closest.
Yeah, for asylums.
There's Wildwood Sanitarium and Salamanca,
Yeah.
which
Salamanca, New
I
York.
feel like that place has a little bit of a different vibe because it was more of a house and not as much of an institution as
Right.
these other asylums were. So
I'm open to anything. I don't have any bucket list
Really?
haunts to go to. No.
So there's kind of a weird bucket list one I'd like to go to just because I love the movie The Shining. Like I'd love to go to the Stanley Hotel,
yes.
like the
Yeah.
original Stanley Hotel, right?
we've had a
Has
couple
anybody
of
gone to
yeah,
it?
we've had a couple I think go there.
Really?
And then there's Waverly, is it in Ohio? I think.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
there's a couple more out. I would like to do more of the out west things, but it's hours
out
in the day.
west.
Yeah.
It's out west, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you on that. I think that would be a lot of fun. I recently saw a little documentary where they interviewed the guy that runs the Stanley Hotel, was kind of going through some of the ghost stories and how, Stephen King came to be inspired for The Shining by staying there.
Yes.
It definitely would be a fun place to go to, I think.
Yeah.
Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Seen Alcatraz, never been on it. I was on the shore and I was like, looks fun.
There it
What is your message to people who may be skeptical, that may not have been on a hunt or may not have experienced anything?
Keep being skeptical.
Yeah.
Keeping skeptical?
Yeah, that's what makes our group so fun is that we have all different people, all different types of believers. You have Raquel and I going through some of this evidence that we want to put in presentations, and we'll debunk it. But we'll still put it in the presentation and say, what do you think? And then we'll show them how we debunked it. We're not a group that we want to be made a joke of. And so when we do go into places, we will call out our group members if we hear them whisper or anything like that. So I say keep being skeptical and try to debunk it, because we're very much when in doubt,
Yeah.
throw it out.
But still have an open mind.
Yes.
I mean, there's things that can't be explained, and take it with a grain of salt or not, but
Yeah, that's kind of our premise, is if I can't explain it, can you explain it? Then it's abnormal. That makes it paranormal. And
I feel
There you
like
have
everyone at some point in their life has that one event you can't explain, right? And mine came Groundhog Day 2000. My college roommate and I were driving north of Cortland on 81 in a snowstorm, went off the road, the car went down a hill. Randomly out of nowhere, this is like 1 in the morning, a guy stood at the top of the hill and said, "You're not going to get that car out of there." We looked down, looked up, gone. We get to the top of the hill. There's no footprints, no tire tracks, no nothing. A state trooper shows up. We're like, who called? And he goes, oh, the guy wouldn't give his name.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow. I just got chills.
Chill, same here. Same
my
here.
roommate and I both were thinking for a while that doesn't add up,
Mm-hmm.
and then we both kind of said to each other a couple hours later, like, "Wait a minute." I mean, there's no explanation. There was no
exactly,
one saw
none.
us go off the road. There were no tire tracks, no footprints. We looked down and up, and he was gone.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So everyone has that one story that they can't be explained. So I think I've always been a fan of like scary movies and stuff like that, but until something like that really hits you
Happens to you.
personally, I think everyone's kind of maybe got that little question in their mind. We talked earlier about the history of like scariness in Central New York. I saw a story recently that Central New York was one of the best places for ghosts to live, just I guess with haunts and everything. Do you feel like Central New York is above average in the rest of the U.S., or are we kind of like just on par?
I would say those
On
people
par
haven't been to
below.
Gettysburg.
yeah, they haven't traveled much.
There's I won't diss Syracuse on being very haunted. There are a lot of haunted local locations, absolutely. But you go to someplace, like we said, Salem, Gettysburg. You go to Gettysburg, you're having experiences and you don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're seeing people dressed in costume and it's not. You're actually seeing apparitions when you walk through those fields in Gettysburg.
Really, I didn't realize. I mean, I've only been through Gettysburg on the road. I've never spent time there, but I didn't realize it was that.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Oh,
makes sense.
Yeah. Mists that you think are mists that aren't mists, because there would be no reason for a mist to be in the air at that particular time of day.
80 degrees on a
yeah.
afternoon. There's no reason for mist.
Well, that kind of brings up a good point too. A lot of people think of haunted places like haunted houses, or we talked about the old hotels and stuff. But it can be fields, it can be waterways, it can be really anywhere,
It
right?
could be a brand new house, brand new construction.
I mean,
you don't know what
it's-
was on the land before.
Hauntings can come from anything from an object to, yes, a home, to just the land that a home is built on. There are certain conduits, what type of stone your house is on. Is it near water? Was it native land? Was there possibly a burial ground nearby? All these things play a
Factor
role into these hauntings coming around.
What would you consider some of the most haunted places in Central New York? I know we brought up Fort Ontario, but what are some other ones that you think of?
What's that cemetery? Oakwood Cemetery?
Oakwood Cemetery?
Yeah, supposedly that is very,
Oh,
very
yes.
haunted.
Yeah, they do walks there, I think.
Yeah, haunted history walks. The landmark, supposedly.
The
I've never
landmark, yeah.
investigated
I've
it.
never personally investigated the landmark, but every time I walk in there, I'm like, man, I would love to come back and get the group back in here to investigate,
Yeah.
because the group itself has been in there, used to do events quite a few years, right when I first started in the group. They were doing events there, and man, they got some great evidence out of the landmark. So right
Yeah,
here
that's-
in Syracuse, there's plenty.
That's definitely a place I want to go to. Like next week, I'm going to the Braylock in Cazenovia, which supposedly has its own history.
Yes.
So we're going to see that one as well. But definitely a lot to explore here.
Yes, the Erie Canal Museum right downtown. We've done events
and
there.
Captured a lot of
Got
evidence there.
a lot there. The Canal Landing in Chittenango, we've done events there. I will tell you, I had an experience. I volunteer at the All Things Oz Museum in Chittenango as well, and I had a similar to what you had. I was giving a tour, and I said to the person up front, I said, "Oh, did that man want a tour?" And she said, "You're the only. It was just you and those people." I said, "No, there's a man back there." And she said, "No, there's not." And I went back and looked, and he was not there anymore. So.
And how do you explain that, right? You
Yeah, I
can't.
can't.
There's and you think about it, you try to rationalize in your head, and that was the case of my roommate Dave and I when we were going through it in our heads. Like neither one of us wanted to be that guy to say that didn't make sense until
Yeah.
we both kind of were like, wait, we both experienced that, so
Exactly.
we didn't imagine that, right?
Yeah.
So, people want to get involved with your group, go on events. We talked about your website and everything. Can they get involved? Can you get people to help you with these hunts, or is it more just a go and watch type thing?
So the events are more of a go and watch type thing. As far as maybe membership of joining the group, we're not accepting new members right now, but we will post out there when we are. And we typically have classes that they can take, and then there's an application and like an interview
We do
process.
like an interview process. But yeah, if anyone's interested, they can email us. And What's the email?
CentralNewYorkGhostHunters@gmail.com.
Thank you. And what we do is we keep a folder of anybody that's interested, and as soon as we're going to start the classes, we'll send out an email to those people that are interested to see if they're still interested. But yeah, it's a fun group to be in, but it's a little bit of work, and we do have guidelines that we do follow to keep everybody safe as well. So.
Awesome. Well, I really enjoyed talking with both of you, and as we move on with the CNY Haunts series, I hope maybe we can touch base again at some point down the road.
Absolutely.
All right, Raquel Smith, Monica Kinner, Central New York Ghost Hunters. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.